Welcome to the Platinum Agent Podcast, where gold is just the beginning. I'm Renee Ruth, top producing agent, global real estate educator, and, believe it or not, a 2025 Grammy nominee. But today I'm here to help you hit the highest level in real estate. This is the Agent to Agent podcast designed to help you grow, scale, and reach platinum status in your business. Expect powerful strategies, expert insights, and real conversations about what it takes to dominate in real estate. And of course, I'm not doing this alone. My co-host Joshua is here too. He may not talk much, he is a dog after all, but he's got a nose for success and a talent for keeping me on track. So if you're ready to stop playing small and start thinking bigger, hit that subscribe button and let's go platinum together. My name is Renee Ruth, and I am your host. I am a six-time icon agent, and I have hosted this podcast to get insider strategies, expert interviews with a mindset-focused conversation to help agents elevate their business from gold to even higher status, platinum. So today, to help me do this, I'm really excited to introduce Amy Slate. She is the real estate professional and founder of the Breakup Broker, a company designed to support individuals navigating the dual challenges of divorce and real estate, which happens all the time. Background in real estate, deep understanding of these transitions. Interesting on that. I'm sure she's got much needed insight on this niche in the industry. So I'm really excited to introduce Amy. Welcome to the podcast.
Thanks so much for having me.
It's a pleasure. So if you don't mind, I always like to, it's a question, kind of like when people buy a house, why are they moving? So whenever I meet an agent, I'm like, how did you become an agent? Tell us about that.
Sure. So in a weird, crazy, I've lived a lifetime. I was actually in education for 20 years. I was a classroom teacher. Get out of here. That's amazing. I think there are more of us than we realize.
I think educator to realtor happens a lot.
It's a not so difficult jump. So I was a classroom teacher, and then I worked at the university level training teachers. And at some point I just said, like, I need to step away. Like my brain is fried. I need a change of pace. And at that point, my then husband, preview of coming attractions, suggested, because we had done investment properties and some small flips, like, maybe you should try real estate. I think you'd be good. I said, okay, I'll get my license. We'll see how it goes. And that was 8 years ago.
For me too.
Yeah. So here we are. And it's been a wild ride. I mean, we've seen some things. The markets have done their thing, and I've learned, I continue to learn and refine my practice and love every day, because I feel like I still get to educate people. So
I say that all the time. This is exactly what I tell my clients. I went from teaching. So I was a public speaking instructor in university. So I went from teaching in university to teaching people how to buy and sell a house in the current market. Because as we know, and most of the public may not know, the market literally changes day by day, week by week. Yep. So our job that we did last year is not the job we're doing this year.
And just because you bought a house 3 years ago, just the process may not even be the same. So, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, well, thank you for sharing that. So now I love the foreshadowing. Right? So now bring us into how you ended up becoming and naming yourself, which I love.
Sure.
Breakup Broker.
Sure. So, and I am super transparent and put it all out there. So if anyone, trigger warning, if divorce is not something you want to hear about, maybe fast forward. But late spring last year, I was not so pleasantly surprised with the divorce, and kind of had this, oh God moment, right? And I was living in Florida at the time. I came back to New England, where I'm from, where my support systems are, and kind of took a pause and stepped back and said, okay, I'm the only paycheck right now. Like, I am the only game in town right now. I've got to build this business. I'm in Greater Boston, where there are a gajillion agents. How am I going to differentiate myself? At the same time, I'm in support groups and on Facebook pages, and I'm seeing all these predominantly women who are like, I don't know what to do. Do I sell? Do I buy? I have questions. Do I rent? Like, just all these unknown questions that they were having and feeling very stressed about. And as someone who cognitively was like going through divorce and your turns to mush, I couldn't imagine going through divorce and dealing with real estate, because I was doing that, and that's what I do for a living. And so I just had this like empathy for these women, and I said, let's turn some lemons into lemonade here. How can I kind of pivot my business and my focus and support this group of women who really, really need it? And thus the Breakup Broker was born.
I think that's phenomenal because I've always said, and this is so true, even as you found a niche in real estate, we are never just buying or selling a home for somebody. It is always predicated by something. It's major, a job, a death in the family. It's like there's majors. Now I live in a small town, a niche like that, and it's a small town in the Bible Belt. So a niche like that may not be as successful for someone in our area, right?
Right.
But I think you could actually to how agents could discover their niche and potentially leverage that, because you did 8 years of business before you niched down. So
for sure.
Yeah, like how could you empower agents, when they're thinking about niching down?
Yeah, I will answer that, but I also want to add a piece that like I am 50 is knocking on the door for me, and I don't want to be doing open houses for the rest of my life, right? And so as I'm thinking about how do I build this business with some longevity that doesn't involve me being boots on the ground, part of my business model is being that, first in the door, supporting people with divorce, separation, breakup questions, just literally as like a consultancy. And I can do that virtually anywhere. So when Susie Q in Cleveland, Ohio has questions, we can Zoom, I can talk, we can, discuss the process, the pros, the cons, the everything. And then I can find Susie a broker in Cleveland.
I love that.
And I stay in that loop with Susie and with that broker, and that broker is the boots on the ground, and they do the sign in the ground and the open houses, and I get a referral fee because that's the business we're in.
I love that. So I think too, a big miss for agents is what you just said. So I'm in that boat after 8 years of hustling, right? Hard hustle. You do come to the place where you're like, okay, I've achieved these things, we've seen accolades. I've achieved these. What's next? Like, how do I, and I think that's a phenomenal opportunity. You know what? I don't know if you've heard the phrase client avatar.
Yes. Yep.
I really think that did you leverage that idea at all in branding?
Yeah. Because I've previously done some real estate writing and coaching. And so I'm always thinking about who is that person that I'm marketing to? How am I packaging this offer, this thing that I'm trying to pitch or sell, which are cheesy, salesy words I don't love. But how am I sharing my value basically? And who am I sharing my value with? And so really identifying these women globally. I mean, to be brutally honest, like women get divorced in Aruba and Switzerland. Like it happens everywhere. And I can be that voice of reason, that consultancy, that support system virtually. I don't need to be in their living room talking about painting the walls.
I love this because, so just so you know, I'm also a divorcee. But I saw that coming. I orchestrated that for me. Because the man I married decided that we should have an open marriage, and
dear,
but forgot to tell me.
That's a good time. It's a good time.
Include me in that conversation. So it was just kind of that's not my vibe. Like I can't swing that way. So
it's not going to work for me.
Yeah, no, I literally wasn't built for it. I think some people might be, but I just
no judgment, no shame, but not my
failure. Not built for it. So he went on his way, I went on mine, and like this is a sidebar. It was literally January 1, 2020, and then the pandemic was March. like he got a new apartment February 2020. Oh my God. And then the world shut down in March, and I literally was like, "There is a God."
Yes. Because
for me, I was like, I couldn't have been trapped
under the same roof. Yes. 100%.
Entire pandemic under this. So that's just, hey, nice to meet you. So, yes, like there is, the statistics, you must know them. So like, when you're looking at divorce, it used to be 50-50. I think it's even higher now. I think the pandemic actually shoved those stats over the edge. And I know when you're dealing with, because we've both been in that boat, it is a highly emotional and highly volatile experience, especially if you're not the person. You know what though? Like you didn't see it coming and I did, and it still was emotionally exhausting for me. because trying to figure out how to get out. How do I get out from under this house? How do I get out from under, like, you're just trying to figure out how to get out, right? And in your case, you're like, how do I survive? How do I survive? Like there's a highly emotional experience. What would you say would be the biggest challenges clients face dealing with real estate specifically?
Yeah, so it just feels like one more thing, right? So as there's the emotional, like, oh my God, my life just got turned upside down. And then there's I've got to hire an attorney and I've got to collect all my financial documents. And I have all these things that feel like a part-time job. And now you want me to figure out selling my house at the same time. And so there's just a lot. And there's a statistic, particularly about women, is the statistic that our cognitive ability during divorce is diminished. Like we are literally not operating at full brain capacity during that time. And so I think the challenge is decision making, feeling like you have the answers or that you're even asking the right questions, and feeling supported, because absolutely no shame to all the rest of the agents out there, but almost unless you've been through it or been really close to someone who's been through it, you don't really understand like the emotional strain and drain that is happening. And so as an agent, you may be like, hey, I need you to sign this this agreement. And meanwhile, the woman's like sobbing in her bathroom. And unless you really genuinely have been in their shoes, it's tough to understand, you know? And I think that's why almost having a team, like, again, the Cleveland example, there's the broker who's going to do the open houses and print the glossies for the showings. But at the same time, like, I'm here, I'm on call, I'm on standby to just like, you can vent to me, we can talk about it. You can tell me you're pissed off because you had to pick up the kids' shoes before the showing. Like all that little stuff that you maybe are hesitant to share with your agent who you're paying to do a job. Like, you're not actually paying me. We're just besties going through this together, you know?
That. And there must be an element of therapy for you with this too.
I think as a teacher, as that background of like being a helper and a nurturer, like it does feel so rewarding to do that, because honestly, like a lot of my business is investors and they're like, the numbers, the profit, the timeline, that's all. And I have great relationships, but there's not that like soft side of it. And I do enjoy like just that relationship building with clients.
I do too. I just said today on the phone, some people I think come into real estate and it's about making money. So it's numbers. But I think as teachers, there's a compassion that we have. And so a lot of us don't come in with that. Like we're not here just to make a buck. We're here to care about and nurture and empower and educate and. And so I think that, that niche down for you is giving you that door where you can still assist the numbers guys, right? Like we can still do that, but we get the opportunity to invest in people. So give me, I know we've touched it a bit, but give me some of the, like, I'm going to give legal, emotional, logistical. So what are the things that come into play so you mentioned picking up shoes, but like what comes into play that's maybe unique to a divorce real estate transaction and the couples? Like what could an agent dealing with one, find useful?
Yeah. So there are a lot more people at the table for starters, right? In our normal transactions, at least in Massachusetts, we've got a real estate attorney, we've got a real estate appraiser, we've got an inspector, right? Those are the usual suspects. When there's a divorce involved, there is often a divorce attorney, if not two or three. Yeah, like you just never know. There is often a new term and person to me, a certified divorce financial advocate. So those are wealth advisors, financial advisors specific to divorce who may be supporting the process and crunching the numbers and looking at all that. Oftentimes just the courts are involved if it's really contentious and some hard and fast, like here's how it's going to roll, paperwork comes down. And so you've just got a lot more players in the game that you've got to facilitate communication across, make sure everyone's feeling heard, being heard, that you are giving just time to the husband and the wife who may not be speaking to each other, right? And how do you navigate? You can't let me talk to Susie over here and then let me talk to Frank over here. Like there's got to be some sort of consistent communication across. And so I think that's kind of the biggest challenge, is just all the people involved. It's usually like, I'm the agent, you're the seller, an attorney will come in at some point, but like there are very limited personalities and people. And now it's like a baseball team worth of individuals that you're handling.
So I just went through that, not in a divorce, but in a transition of life, elderly going home. So it was children, it was, and also a blended family. So it was one army, like one baseball team of children, and then another baseball team of children. And I was like, ha! So how do you, having just gone through this, and I had some thoughts about so there were literally 10 players.
Yeah.
10 sellers on one side.
Yeah.
That wasn't their cohorts. How do you navigate that? What's your best practices when you're not dealing with just like a seller or a couple that are working together? Like, how do you deal with minis?
Yeah. This story is going to take a twist and a turn, but I promise we'll come back.
I'm here for it.
So and this is not, I sound like I'm tooting my own horn. I actually have a doctorate in education as well. And my dissertation was about successful partnerships in education, but that has translated to just business in general. So in a nutshell, you take two people, two groups, you mush them together and you hope that they're successful. But there's actually a big framework and set of kind of guidelines that you can adhere to make sure that happens. And kind of the big buckets are communication, data sharing, and just like timeliness and responsiveness, right? So when you've got the baseball teams, I think making sure everyone is on the emails, which can be overwhelming, but like you never want someone to be like, I didn't know that we signed that document, or I didn't know that someone had that feedback, or you want to make sure you are always sharing all the information with all the parties. Responsiveness, if you like talking to Susie better because she's nice and doesn't yell at you, so you call her back pretty regularly and pretty quickly, you can't be like, oh, but when her brother John calls, I like send straight to voicemail all the time. Like you just can't. And it stinks and it makes you sweaty, but like you have to just answer the phone and always be communicating. I am not an advocate of like, I'm available 24 hours a day. That's not true. I sleep, I eat, I meditate, I work out. Like I have a life too, but I will be responsive and respectful of your time. So I think communication above all. I mean, we've seen it just with agents in the industry. Like you're calling, no one's answering. And that frustration you feel as an agent who does this for a living, imagine being on the other side and your husband's left you, your parents has just died, you're already at a heightened emotional state, and now the person you need answers from isn't picking up the phone.
Right.
I think that can head off a lot of drama just by being responsive and communicative.
And that was, it's so interesting because in my situation, an agent got introduced at the 11th hour, meaning somewhere on the baseball teams was this lurking agent who got brought in, and then all of a sudden their language went from client to like the lingo changed, and I was like, and I said, I'm like, where's the agent?
Yeah, because you didn't write this.
Yeah, and I'm like, I'd like to actually talk to them. We understand you. Like,
yes,
why weren't they here from jump? Because the lesson I learned is, well, this was a suggestion that was made to me. Tell me what you think. But one of the suggestions, and this is not a divorce situation, this was, but multiple people, is assign a party baseball team to be the POC, point of contact. So like, I'm talking to you, and then you have been assigned by the community to relay, to everyone else, so that there's if it's possible. I'm sure in some situations it's not, but that was one of the suggestions made because it really felt like I was corralling cats. Really, speaking of your cat, like it just felt like I couldn't, even in my best efforts to get everybody informed, somebody still wasn't, it was, as I can imagine, a divorce would be just as challenging.
Yes.
If they're not on good terms.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and again, at the end of the day, we do the best we can, and there's going to be some stuff that slips through the cracks. We try our best not to, but
we are human. That's what I said. I'm like, we are human. Like you said, I love that balance idea too, because, in the niche you've chosen, it's highly emotional and highly demanding. So, how do you create that balance for yourself? I think sometimes people think, I don't know what they think we do, but like we are on call, basically for the duration, like from hello, I just met you till close, we sit on call. And people, I don't know, people say a lot of things about the money we make and how we make it. And it's just, I always tell people, like, I don't know how much you think having a professional on call is worth, but like,
yeah, it's actually, that's funny. So, one of my investors is working with a developer right now, and I had a call with the investor this morning, and he said, by the way, the developer is going to be out of pocket from today through Tuesday. And I was like, that's not the business we're in. We don't go out of pocket. What's happening?
Is he on vacation? What's he doing out of pocket? And how can I get out of pocket?
I was like, short of a medical procedure, I don't think I've been out of pocket in 8 years. Like,
literally, I thought that. I was like, I haven't not had a day off. I think today you might be the only thing I have to do today, but it's been like 3 weeks straight.
It's still not a day off. You're still going to field a fire. You're going to answer an email. You're going to get a new lead. Like, there's going to be stuff, and you're not going to not be looking at this.
No, you're not, because somebody might need you. So that's the on-call thing, right? Like, and I think that you are a valuable resource to somebody in a divorce situation, because everything you just said, anyone listening to this, you're getting somebody that's there, because there's not every agent behaves that way. Right. I think that might be the teacher in us too. Like, student needs.
I just want to take care. I just want to be here. I just want to help you. I know. That being said, I love my sleep, and I know that if I don't get enough rest, I am useless. And so my phone is like on Do Not Disturb, probably 8:30, 9 o'clock. Like, I'm not fielding phone calls. There was nothing I can say, do, solve, fix after 9 p.m. on a Thursday night. Nothing.
Okay, you're like my twin, because I'm like staring 50 in the face, and everybody knows, they joke in the industry. Oh, she's a grandma. She goes to bed at 8. No, it's not that I go to bed at 8. I just shut down so that I can. And to be honest, I love my mornings, because if you don't get up in the morning, you don't get time for yourself. No. Like, I work till that, and it's like you said, there's nobody. The lenders aren't working. The title company's not working. No one's working. Oh. You can't see a property. So anything that you think needs to happen at 8 o'clock at night can still happen at 8 a.m. Like, it's gonna be okay. So that is definitely a balance or a boundary you've created, so that you have some me time.
And I'm super upfront about it with new clients, divorcing clients or not. Like, I am here for you. I will work really, really hard, but I also know that to be my best self, I need sleep. And I need exercise. And those are things that I'm going to prioritize in my life. And so there will be times after 9 p.m. and before 7 a.m. that I'm not available. And that's just it.
What are some other strategies you've employed to avoid burnout? Because that is a problem in our industry too.
I meditate like a monk. Like, really. Like, I was introduced to meditation 2017, 2018, and have been religious about it ever since. Minimum twice a day. Sometimes if I'm having a stressful day, I like sneak one in the afternoon, but every morning like clockwork, before bed like clockwork. If I'm in the dentist chair and stressed out, I go into meditation. Like, it brings me back to center, to sound super cheesy and like a yogi, and just helps me refocus and like calm my nervous system.
How did you, I'm sure there's agents out there who are like, I need to meditate. For an agent who doesn't, how did you start? Like, where did you go to kind of create this balance, this place of Zen?
Yeah, no, it's been a work in progress, and I get better every week, month, year. I was living in a condo in a high-rise building and met one of my neighbors who was a psychologist. And I have diagnosed anxiety, and I was on medication for years. And she said to me, I really want you to try meditation. I think it will be incredibly beneficial. And I was like, oh gosh, right? But then she said, come into my office, we'll do a session, and we'll just see what you think. And that was it. Like, from then on, I was sold. It's like a drug. Like, I crave it. I look forward to it. And so anyway, she taught me. But then there's a million ways to meditate. There's mantra meditation, there's guided meditation, there's all these things. And there are so many apps these days. Personally, I'm a Peloton user. The Peloton app has a million meditations. So I just turn that on every morning, and that's what I do.
Now, are there specific focuses you have for them? Like, are they, or just whatever pops up? Like,
no. So yes, I am very, as I've refined my practice, I am selective about what I do. Most days it's just kind of a morning meditation, like set your intentions, come back to center. But particularly through my early days of divorcing, stress and trauma, there were a lot of acceptance meditations and calming meditations and just things that would elicit emotions. And sometimes I'd be like sobbing by the end of the meditation. And that's okay, because I think you need to feel the feels too, right?
Yeah.
And some days it's just like a happiness meditation. It sometimes I'd let the mood strike me. Otherwise, it's just a like come back to center and get your day started meditation.
I have told agents, because I coach as well. You guys, former teachers, we can't help ourselves.
I know.
You're going to become a coach if you're a former teacher and you're a realtor.
No doubt. Yeah.
Happen. I coach all the agents on, that was one of the reasons I found success so quickly.
Mm-hmm.
That I really centered myself every morning, because you wake up with the running thoughts of what's wrong. A lot of times, especially if you go to bed thinking them, you'll wake up with them. And I had, the morning, actually this, you'll find interesting. Many, many studies show that first thing in the morning is when your mind is most malleable to believe the unbelievable. Yeah. It's the one change you have to alter the highways that have been built in your head. And so I had these crazy highways built about money. Just, it doesn't grow on trees, just all the things that I heard growing up. And it's wild successes for them, not for, and as a teacher, we weren't in a position to create work, there. So I had to really work through these kind of limiting beliefs that I had from my, past. And
your money story.
Yeah. And like where, there was a lot of books and meditations and just a lot of things that I did in the morning that set my day up. And then, like you said, if you fall off a wagon, see my fall off a wagon, I come back to gratitude. Everything starts to blow up. Even if all I can do is say thank you. Like there's a thing where you can do where you just, every step you take, like, so take a walk around the building or a walk around your neighborhood when something blows and just go, thank you, thank you, thank you. And that gratitude centers you back to a place that you can actually thrive from versus the spiral.
Which translates into conversations I have with women who there was an impending divorce. They think they're getting like all those things. I just keep saying, like, are you safe? Do you have food? Yeah. Are you employed? Are your kids okay? Like, let's focus. Like, I realize your world is imploding and there's a bunch of stuff you cannot control. But let's talk about what you do have and what we can be grateful for in this moment, because that's like, focus on the positive stuff and the rest will come.
So my divorce, I was in deep, deep debt, and there's a lot of things I don't need to get into, but I would wake up with the weight of that debt. Before we were even divorced, it was like it was coming, and I would wake up with the weight of that. And I tell everybody, like, it had to be so basic for me. I couldn't find things to be thankful for, so it was like, I'm thankful I woke up today. I'm thankful that there's a roof over my head. I'm thankful that the sky is blue and not purple and green. I'm thankful that, like, basic. But it's like you said, you keep getting better. As I started with simple, eventually you quickly start to see there's so many things to be thankful for that shifts you from the space, because you realize later it's just this nucleus you're existing in as you shift, into what's next for your life. So I love learning about how you've become a trusted resource for this transition. You've really explained, you've got so many gifts. It's not just, in fact, your real estate skills are here. You're really providing education, mindset coaching, like the list of things that you're giving a client is just invaluable. Like, it's so amazing. What could an agent do if they were wanting to craft their business into a brand? Do you have any advice for them?
I think it starts with authenticity. Don't try and be something that you're not, right? I mean, at one point, and this is almost embarrassing to say, but I lived in Naples, Florida for a little while, and I was licensed and I was transacting down there. And I looked around and I was like, everyone's driving Bentleys and carrying these expensive bags. Like, clearly I need to get some like Chanel sunglasses. Like, I need to be this. And I was like, that's not who I am when I wake up in the morning. That's not who I am in my heart. And I'm not going to feel true to myself. And frankly, it's going to be exhausting trying to be someone that I'm not.
Right.
Right. And so really finding who you are, because your clients will sense it. Your clients will know if you're a fake, and just trying to play the part. So really identify who you are, what you care about even,
That's an incredible shift. Tell me more about the shift from, navigating from that Naples Bentley. Yeah, I was just like, whoa, go back to that.
It was a pandemic move. I was still married at the time, and it was like, let's go to Florida. You can do real estate there. So, okay, off we go. And as much as Boston is bougie, and I have plenty of luxury clients up here, Naples was like next level. There was a level of wealth I have never seen in my life.
Wow.
And as I'm like getting my feet wet and going to open houses and meeting other agents, I'm going, oh Lord, like I am out of my, like luxury Boston is nothing compared to luxury Naples, you know? And again, tried to like be them. And I was like, no, not me, not happening. I am too old for this. Like I am not playing the part. This isn't Halloween dress up. Like I need to be who I am and I will find my people. And I think that's a piece that a lot of agents worry about. Feel like I've got to be this so I can get that. Just be yourself and your people will come. They will find you.
It's so interesting you say that because when I coach the new agents, I tell them this because they're like, I'm not like you, Renee. Like I'm not, as teachers, we tend to be highly communicative. We tend all these different things. And I tell them like I truly believe that every person has a network that will work with them. That quieter, more reserved agent is going to attract the quieter, more who's going to find me too boisterous. Like she's too much, like, and that's where you have to just coach them and educate them into their sphere, right? So like for you, what mindset shift kind of allowed you to start growing this niche beyond just this happened to me?
Yeah. I think so. I shockingly, even though I'm on this podcast, I am a hardcore introvert. I don't like being around people. I published a book under my married name that is How to Succeed at Real Estate When You Don't Really Like People. Like, because there is a way, there is a path forward. And I really had to embrace who I am and figure out like, what is it that makes me special? And as an introvert, I'm an incredible listener and I pick up on cues because I'm always watching and learning and observing because I don't want to be the one talking. So I'm just sitting back and I'm just letting the world unfold in front of me and I'm taking it all in. And so that has helped me tremendously in so many client interactions because I'll be like, oh, but what about the blah, blah? And they're like, what? We didn't even say that to you. I'm like, but I was watching and listening. And so getting back to like, how do you kind of find your success? You really need to figure out who you are, which is tough at times. And you may think, like I did early on, I'm an introvert. I can't be good at sales. There's no way I can be good at sales. Like everyone who's successful is an extrovert and they're out networking and they're doing all these things. And yes, there are extroverts who are super successful and they're out doing all those things. That doesn't mean I can't also be. There's just a different way for me to get there.
I love that. Okay, because I'm an extrovert introvert, meaning I'm so happy to be at home on a couch reading a book. But I do also enjoy networking. So like I have this like balance, right?
Yeah.
So for me, when I hear you say that, like, so the introvert, like the way the world has changed has made it so that it doesn't require you to be out socializing. Like I love what did you do as an introvert to create your business?
Social media is my best friend. And again, people are like, how can you be on Instagram stories all the time? You're an introvert. I'm like, right. It's me and my phone in my closet office. Like I'm not out in front of a crowd. Like that's you know what I mean? Like I'm introverting in my closet by myself with my phone, but I'm messaging and I'm sharing and people are taking me in without me having to actually be out at a networking event, having a cocktail at 6 p.m. on a Tuesday.
It's reaching hosts of people. Yeah.
Yes. And so social media really has been a huge lever for me. And no shame on everyone who has these like very curated Instagram feeds and Instagram stories. That is not me, right? I almost every morning, there's a picture of me meditating on my daybed, in my guest room, with my cats, burning incense, with my cup of coffee, with like my hair in a rat's nest and my pajama top on. Like, this is who I am. This is my life. This is who I am as a human being. I'm not this like perfectly coiffed, driving a Mercedes, tooling around, like, I mean, I do have a nice car and I do my hair, but like, I'm not always a hot mess. But there are
in the morning with your makeup, you're sitting there going, I love my life.
Do you know what I mean? I think just like sharing authentically who I am. I remember when I first was like, oh God, I was hosting an open house and someone came up and they're like, oh my God, I love your blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I've never laid eyes on this person. I have no idea who this person is. And it was just someone who had like seen my stories and like had a question about my cats. And I was like, oh God, it works. Right.
Do you have advice? Okay. I've got an agent right now in my office who is just very much to herself. And needs to get out on, so even, was there a hurdle for you to do? Like, was there the videos? Look, we're in a generation that didn't grow up like this.
Correct.
How did you or did you have to overcome pressing record or?
Yeah, no, great question. And I give this advice to people who also are like, I don't know how to do stories. What do I do? I will say, like, the easiest way is to start doing it, not not face first. So you're filming other stuff. Your voice may be there. You're pushing record. It's your phone. It's your social media. But the easiest is like on vacation, or you're somewhere interesting, or you're even at an open house or a showing or something. Just start pushing record and capturing the video, not your face, maybe just your voice. And then little shots, literally just you and your dog, you at the park, you drinking your coffee, just basic stuff. I think there's this mindset of, I can't do social media because you see these perfectly curated feeds and everyone's an influencer and in Tulum filming this amazing stuff, right? It doesn't have to be that. And your clients don't expect you to be that.
I love that. I think I'm actually going to share that with her, because
please do.
Because you're just triggering something I remembered learning, because I'm a musician, so
okay,
performing is no problem for me. But putting myself in the face of somebody who doesn't, it's called faceless marketing, where you can actually, with AI, you don't even need your own voice. Because some people, it took me a long time to get okay with the sound of my voice, because what's in your head and what you hear when you press record are two different things.
Why am I so nasally? I know you feel like you sound terrible.
And until you reconcile your brain with that sound, like, it's really challenging. So, there's now, you can literally create AI voices. Like, so you really can be a presence. There's people that have created entire personas and you have no clue who they are till you would ever meet them. So like, you still maintain your name, real information, but you're not a face. You're just a voice.
Yep.
Maybe.
And yes, but I do think there's value in getting your face there eventually, because as the business we're in, people are going to show up and meet you and be like, oh, that's the one I saw on Instagram. So you do want your face at some point, but I understand the fear of like, how do I even get started?
Just post your business card at the end. Bam.
Totally.
Like that photo.
Right.
Let's wrap this up. Tell me if you had to give one piece of advice to an agent, right, about growing a niche business. Okay. Like the one, like, nugget.
I would have to say it has got to be something that you are comfortable, which is not a strong enough word, but comfortable and confident in. So, there's plenty of agents that do probate business. I don't know a lick about probate, and it can be lucrative. I'm not diving in because I don't know about it. I'm not passionate about it. I'm not comfortable with it.
Passion. That's the word.
Passion. Yeah. Something you're passionate about.
That's the word.
Yep.
Like, you've had a life of experiences, but your passion was after experiencing that divorce. That's your passion.
And, I can do FSBOs, I can do investors, I can do first-time home buyers. Like, there are all those things that as an agent you can do, but what is really going to drive you to wake up and get going every morning? And that's that focus you want, that niche that you want, something that you're passionate about.
Thank you. That is the platinum nugget. Oh man. Perfect. Amy, it was so great to meet you. Thank you so much for joining this podcast. Please check her out. Do you want to run by where they can find you? The book, all the things.
The book is under my married name, so I almost hate to promote it. But if you search me, you'll find it. But the breakupbroker.com is where I am, is where it kind of explains how I can support women maybe thinking about divorce in the initial stages of divorce or separation or breakup. I think there are a lot of couples who are long-term couples that aren't maybe married but still have assets in real estate. So I don't like to always put just the divorce label on it. But yeah, the breakupbroker.com is me, or the Amy Slate on the socials. Come watch me drink coffee and hang out with my cats.
I'm already planning to find you on Insta. The messy hair.
It's a bad scene some days, so beware.
Get inspired. Yes. This is Amy. She has got extreme passion for helping individuals care for and move through a difficult time in their life. So look her up, follow her. Thank you for joining Platinum Agent Podcast. See you guys next time. Amy, I can't wait to see you on socials. Cheers.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Renee.
You're welcome.
Bye.
End scene. Amy. That's it for this episode of Platinum Agent Podcast. If you're ready to take your business beyond gold and into platinum, let's connect. Reach out to me at this email, renee@reneeruthofficial.com, and we'll make something happen. Don't forget, hit subscribe because Joshua and I will be back with more insights. Until then, go platinum.